Hey guys, it's me, Mr. Goebel. If you're watching this video, it means that I'm dead. Nah, I'm just messing with you. Actually, you guys have a sub today, and I thought it'd be a little bit easier for me to explain it through this video and post it to Google Classroom than it would be for the sub to try and explain how this assignment works. It's not terribly complicated, and I'll let you get to your assignment here in just a second. It should be popping up here pretty quickly as soon as this video is over. Or close to it. At least if I scheduled the videos or scheduled the assignment correctly, it should work that way. Anywho, what you guys are doing is you are comparing the Republican Party platform from 2008 to the Democratic Party platform from 2008. You should have those two handouts with you and ready to go. They look the same, but they are different, so make sure that you have those two. If you don't, you should probably ask the sub for whichever one that you're missing. You'll need both. So what you're basically doing, the overall big picture here, is you're comparing the similarities and the differences between the Republicans and the Republican and the Democratic Party, at least in 2008. Now keep in mind, normally I'd ask you guys, but since this is just a video and it's one-way communication, I'll just tell you. But keep in mind that in 2008, that was the election between Barack Obama and John McCain. That was the first time that Barack Obama ran for office. So kind of keep in mind, that's a few years back, and so maybe a few things have changed. Most things have remained the same. A couple other things to point out to you is this. If you look at the two party platforms kind of side by side, you'll notice they're not identical. If you look at the different issues that show up on each side, they are not exactly the same and not exactly in the same order. And so what that tells you is that, and typically we've talked about this before, but typically you find the most important things on any list at the beginning. So you can kind of see what's important to the Republicans and what's important to the Democrats based on the order of issues on their list. And as you go through your assignment, you've got 25 questions, either on Google Classroom or on paper. Please make sure that you let the sub know if your phone is not working with Google Classroom, or if it's died, or if you left it in the car, whatever it is. Make sure you let the sub know, and make sure that you get a paper copy of the assignment. This is what it looks like, okay? So make sure that you do that. Back to what I was saying though. The order on the things kind of show you, to a certain extent, the importance of certain issues to certain parties. You will also notice as you go through the assignment that there are some topics that do not show up on both the Republican side or the Democratic side, okay? There are some topics that only show up on one. Now, does that mean that the Republicans are the only ones that care about it, or the Democrats are the only ones that care about it? Not necessarily. It just means that they didn't think it was important enough to put it on their party platform, okay? And the platform is just kind of where the parties stand on certain issues. And by the way, I'm gonna let you know this too. This assignment is slightly out of order of what I would normally do, but like I told you guys, I've got an appointment right now, maybe even depending on which class period you're in. I've got an appointment in Lubbock with my wife. She's getting her sonogram done, okay? So we can see what gender our baby is gonna be. Anywho, back to the topic at hand. I promise I'll be quick. Maybe. You know me. I'll do a couple of kind of questions with you and show you how this should work. Make sure that you check with both charts, okay? Make sure you check with both charts before you answer, either on paper or on Google Classroom, either way. We're going to do the first two together, okay? So the first one is help Americans afford health insurance by providing tax credits to help pay for it. So your answer choices are, by the way, Democrat, Republican, or both. And so what I would suggest that you do is kind of figure out which topic you're going to be looking at for the Republican side, which topic you're going to look at for the Democratic side. Okay. In this particular case, I'll just give you a freebie here, but we're looking at something about health insurance and providing tax credits to help pay for it. Okay. So on both sides, there is something. Let me see if I can find it. There is something about healthcare on both sides. And healthcare, and I'll just be quick, but long story short, on both sides, if you're looking at it for healthcare, it actually does mention something, believe it or not. It does mention something about tax credits to help pay for healthcare on both the Republican side and the Democratic side. Okay, and that surprises a lot of people. And so my advice to you guys is make sure you check both sides. You might think that you know an answer, but truth is, some of these you'll be surprised on. Some of these you'll be surprised. Oh, the Republicans, really? They wanted a tax credit to help pay for insurance? That doesn't sound like the Republicans. Well, back in 2008 anyway, that actually was the case for the Republicans. Okay, so for number one, or on Google Classroom, it may not be your number one. They're all going to be mixed up because it's individual work for you guys, like it normally is. But for that particular question, you would put both. Okay, both Republicans and Democrats. Now let me give you another example. This will be number 2 on the paper. It may not be your number 2 on Google Classroom, but number 2 says support accelerated drilling for oil in areas like Montana, South Dakota, and Alaska. So on this particular one, the topic that you're going to be looking for, so figure out which topic first. On the topic that you're going to be looking for is energy. So it shows up here for energy on the Republican side and energy over here on the Democratic side. And if you read both of them, make sure you read both, you'll find out that the Republican Party platform talks pretty much word for word about supporting accelerated drilling for oil in areas like Montana, South Dakota, Alaska, etc. And so it's pretty much copied and pasted. Not all of these statements on the worksheet, not all of them will be word for word out of the party platforms. Some of these you have to read in between the lines a little bit. Some of these you have to interpret a little bit. And ultimately, if you have questions, let me give you 2 pieces of advice. Number 1, you can ask me whenever I come back on Monday, either before school or during TCB or whatever it is. You're welcome to do that. You don't have to click submit. You don't have to turn it in yet. If you're good with it, then go ahead and do that, but you don't have to. Okay. So ask me questions, or I have posted, or at least if I do what I'm supposed to do, I will have posted kind of a cheat sheet, like where to look for certain questions. There are some frequently asked questions, and so I will post on the board, actually, is I think what I'm going to do. I don't know. I guess you'll find out as you're watching this video, but I believe I will have put it on the board, which question and where to look for that question, because there's some of these that can be a little bit confusing. Anyway, I hope all of this makes sense, but the last thing that I want to say is this. There are a few questions that can be tricky. Like, let me use number 2 as an example again, okay? What if the support accelerated for drilling oil like Montana, South Dakota, blah, blah, blah. What if only the Democratic Party had the topic of energy? What if, just hypothetically, bear with me, but what if hypothetically the Republican Party platform did not have the topic of energy? Does this statement on number 2, does it agree with what it says about energy for the Democratic Party platform? The answer is no. Okay, so if something shows up just on one side, it does not automatically mean that you would choose that side. There's 1 or 2 of them, there's not many, but there's 1 or 2 of them where you actually have to say, no, it doesn't match up with the Democratic side, even though it's only on that side, and so you got to assume that's Republican, or vice versa. Okay, so anyway, I really do think that's it. I'll let you guys get to work at this point. If you're doing the paper copy, turn it in when you're done. Google Classroom, submit it when you're done. Good luck.